Okay, so we'll look at, today we are going to look at a question that involves coming up with the investment appraisals, which is to look at the NPV and the concept behind that, the internal rate of return. We'll look at the levelized cost of energy. So let me just pick the question paper. I'm determined to look at all the papers by Thursday. I don't know why Rico and Tiamo, you took so long to contact me after what we looked at during your assignment, because as we started last week, oh no, last week I was in Lubumbashi. Let me not give that as a reason. Let's continue. Okay. We can look at this question even tomorrow. There's some question that interested me a lot. Yeah, from question 3 to question 4. So the question reads, you are evaluating the feasibility of a project to install a 1.5 megawatt photovoltaic system on the roof of an office block. PV panels convert sunlight to electricity. The project will cost 20 rands per watt of installed capacity, equivalent to 20 million per megawatt. Assume the following. The capacity utilization over the period of a full year is 30%. The panel will deliver 2,628 megawatt hours per megawatt of installed capacity per year, which is 30% times 365 times 24 hours per day. So here they are assuming that the solar panels will be able to generate power for 24 hours in a day, which is quite strange, unless they have batteries where they can bank the power, but it's not possible. It's supposed to be 20%, at least about 20% the utilization, but since it's an exam, we don't need to argue anything from there, even when logic is lost. The facility will take 1 year to construct. The first year of operation, which is also the year of commissioning, is year 2. Maintenance and operational costs are 0.5% of the capital cost per year. The working average cost of capital is 14%. Use this value as your discount rate. The inflation rate is 0. There is no inflation. The project lifespan is 20 years. Using the levelized cost of energy template, which we are going to ignore, I would rather we start from the scratch, because in that way it becomes easier for you to understand the concepts. Then we can compare with the thing. Calculate for each option the following, showing in each case how you obtain your answer. The total capital cost for 0.5 megawatt system, the cost will be 10 million, okay? The annual energy output, the total operation and maintenance cost per year. There are no fuel costs with the PV since sunlight is free. The annual equivalent of the capital cost, I'll show you how you can compute that. The annual worth of the project, you'll have to calculate this yourself, which is basically the annual equivalent cost of capital plus the operational cost. It gives you the annual worth of the project. The cost of electricity based on your calculation of the annual worth divided by the energy output. The levelized cost of electricity based on the spreadsheet, which uses annual discounting. Then obviously you can answer F and G, it's the theory. Okay, so let's get back now and be systematic on how we're going to handle this. Let me do this, sorry. Open a new worksheet. So your exams are written in Excel? How's your format? Or one has to carry a pen and a paper? Rico?
By the look of things, you do get those ones that we're doing. I think it's based on Excel, because you can see that these models are answered on Excel for all the questions that he has been asking on these past exams.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in your next life, obviously this one you're going to pass. In your next life, what I would recommend in your next life, Rico, we are going to do maybe a 1 month financial modeling course.
Yeah.
Then afterwards, now we go into this. It was going to be very easy. But that is in your next life. This one you're passing, so don't worry. So we start from here. We have year 1 up to year 20. But first, let's just put some few parameters. I can call this as assumptions, but since it's just, maybe you can have on one worksheet. So say, so we'll start with, let's go back to the question. Sorry. So you start with the feasibility of a project, the installed capacity. I'll be very fast, which is 1.5 megawatts. The project will cost $20 rands per watt. So capital cost, $20, 20 rand, sorry. So control 1. So $20 per watt. Will not take long. Then we are told this is equivalent to 20 million rands per megawatt. Okay. So 20 rand per watt is equivalent to 20 million per megawatt. Maybe I'll do like this first. Soccer. Please, you should be asking questions as we move on. Sorry. So it's 20 million per megawatt. Okay. Then what else? These are the assumptions here. The capacity utilization over the period of a full year is 30%. Utilization, which is 30%. Okay. The facility will take 1 year to construct. So we can say construction period. One year. So coming up with this is my favorite shortcut, guys. I use Control and 1. So I hold Control and press 1 so that I get this format, whatever. I use it so often. The facility take 1 year. The first year of operation is also the year of commissioning. Okay, which is year 2. Maintenance and operational costs are 0.5. So O&M, which is 0.5% of the capital cost. We have the work, which is 14%. So the weighted average cost of capital is basically a combination. That is a combination of debt and equity. That is if we assume that the financing that has been used was sourced from 2 investors, those that are investing in debt and those that are investing in equity, who in this case, those that are investing in equity will be regarded as the shareholders, who most of the time will get dividends. So the capital structure where you have to balance your equity and your equity and the debt gives us the work. So one thing that you need to know, when you use work, even if in the exam they have given you the scenario, they have given you interest charges, you ignore the interest charges because it is assumed that the interest charges have been factored in work. So don't bring in your interest charges as a cash outflow.
Sorry, we can repeat that. When like if given the interest charges, we shouldn't bring work.
Yes, you should not include it in your cash flows
Scenario.
Yeah, because it is part of the work. But if you have the debt, the interest charge, the cost of debt, and you've been given the cost of equity, you can decide to include interest charges. But then down there, when you're computing your NPV, you do not use your work, you actually use your equity, because the cost of debt has already been factored. It will still give you the same answer. Okay. So, thank you.
Wait, so because what you've just said now is, if they didn't give you straight work, and then they split it, they gave you what you have, the cost of equity, and so you're saying if they gave you that, you shouldn't include your you said you shouldn't what?
So if they gave you 2 numbers, they gave you, for example, a cost of debt, which is the financing charges, 5%, then cost of equity, which is mostly higher, mostly it is actually linked to, on cost of equity, they may actually link it to your yields, your coupon bonds, your treasury bills and the like, which mostly it will be above 14%. So if they give you those 2 numbers, all you need to do on debt, just calculate the interest charges, which then will be regarded as cash outflows. Then the number that you're going to use as discount rate, you're going to use for equity. Because at that point, you have already paid out your debt investors. Is it okay?
Yeah.
I'll demonstrate that at some point. Maybe not today. I'll demonstrate that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But a short one. What does this actually 14% of work mean?
So, okay. Let me do this, sorry. So the 14% of work, what it means. Let me give this example. You have debt interest. You have debt interest of 5%. You have cost of equity. Let's say 14%, usually it's around that. Then you have been told on the capital structure that debt is, say, 85%. Most of the project finance projects, you find about 85%. Then equity, it is 15%. This is what has been put into this particular project as financing. Okay. So let's say it's $100 million, meaning that $85 million will come in as debt, then $15 million will come in as equity. So you have two shareholders, two investors, those that believe that they should actually invest in debt. Most of those that invest in debt, they are risk averse than those that invest in equity. You know the pecking order. If you invest in equity because you are responsible of all the major decisions being made in the organization. So if there is a loss that you're going to incur, you're not going to get any dividends or any returns. But then you have to follow the pecking order. The pecking order will start first. You're actually going to give the senior lenders. Secondly, you're going to go to the junior lenders, mezzanine. And the interest on junior lenders is much higher than for the senior lenders, because for the senior lenders, they have certain gadgets, certain security, they secure their funds. There will be a lot of issues that will come in, whether it's debt service coverage ratio, debt service reserve account that will be secured, at least the monies will be secured for them. So the interest is slightly lower. Then you have those who are equity investors. If you record decides that, me, I want to be an owner of this particular investment that is being floated. So we'll come in with the funds, but those funds will be regarded as equity. But then we want to find the work. The work ideally is the cost of capital, the cost of sourcing that fund, which is a combination of equity and debt. So how do you get this particular work? For example, if you had 100 here, this is 85 million, and this is 15 million rands. So what is going to happen here? First, we'll need to find what is the interest that will be charged if one gets, in Zambia, we're quoting Congole, debt of 85 million. So to be 85 million times the interest, because this is the annual interest, which will be charged for you having sourced debt financing. So to be 4.25 per year. On cost of equity, the principle is again very easy. Why they would actually use, for example, a 14%, equal maybe to passive investments such as treasury bills. All you're saying is that, why did you decide to go and invest in a solar project when you had an option to take this money to, say, to Reserve Bank of Johannesburg and buy bonds, which is risk-free, or to go to FNB and buy treasury bills? You will be making your money where you are actually in maybe in Soweto, or you're at Cubana. I always like being at Cubana when I'm in South Africa. Or you're at Cubana. Busy making money while you're doing all sorts of things. The fact that that is an opportunity cost. So you're saying if you invest in solar, look at that, what you have lost. It's an opportunity cost, which you should have just invested in there and just be at home or be at Cubana or be at Chisanyama. So you have decided to invest in this. So then you're saying that will be 15 million. This is what you have lost for investing in there. And this is the cost of equity. So when you add these total costs, this is the cost of money, which is 6.5. So what then does it mean when you have these numbers? You need now to check what is the total investment this side for you to know your work. So your total cost would be 6.3%, 35%. This is what you're going to have as your work. It is this number then, or now, that you're actually going forward, you're going to use as the weighted average cost of capital. So even if you're not given these amounts here, what most people would do would just say equals, you'll pick the 5% times 85, you do like this, plus open bracket, 15% equity times 14%. Then whatever numbers that you get in here, it gives you your work. Is it okay? Soro?
Yes, yes.
Fine,
Yes.
eh? I hope I've explained the correctly.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So then this is the number that you're going to use to discount your future cash flows to today, because you're trying to make a decision now. So even the revenues, the cash flows that you're going to generate at the end of the 20th year, because you want to make a decision now, you have no luxury whatsoever in the decision of making. So you are discounting today so that you make a decision. That's where the concept of time value for money comes from. I hope I'm not as clear as your lecturer. Okay, so we have now these numbers, and this is what we're going to do. The first thing that we need to do, guys, is to find the total Capex, capital investment. Which is basically your Capex. So we have been told that it's 20 million rands per megawatt. So meaning that you are going to have 20 million times 15, which will give you 30 million, which will give you 30 million rands. So this is, I'll do like this, rands. Okay. So that is the total capital cost, which is basically a cash outflow. But then we need now to get, we have been told that O and M is 0.5 of capital cost. So O and M is 0.5 times 20. When you are done, you can then now format this. That is just basically for good modeling. We have practices. When you look at these numbers, it's very difficult for me to know which one is a hard-coded number, which one is a calculating number. So usually what we do, the hard-coded numbers, they will be highlighted, they will be in a blue font. That's a standard, using what they call fast standard in modeling. So once you are done with your modeling, then that is when you can do sorry. Okay. That is when now you can do your control G. So I can do that. Sorry, the shortcut with what I want to do is control G. So I hold control and press G like this. Then I go that side, go to constants, and only pick numbers. So I'll highlight them like that. So I know that these constants, I'll highlight blue. That is after I'm done. So that whoever sees these numbers here knows for sure that these numbers, they are hard-coded, they are part of the assumptions. Then the ones that are in the black font, they are calculating. That's best practice, just for extra marks. So we have the O and M. Then here now, we also need to actually convert this to energy. So we know that days in a year, we have been given 365, and the hours in a day, these are days in a year. So the hours in a day is 24. I think we were given a formula already. So here first we need to find the energy. So on energy, we are told, so under energy, sorry, we can find the kilowatt hours. So in here now, we have power. We're trying to convert it to energy. So megawatts, basically, it can be a day, it can be in a minute and whatever. But then now we want to convert, we want to check how much energy would be generated from a 1.5 megawatt. So we have the 1.5 there times, because that was in a day, times 24 hours in a day, times 365, times 1,000, converting from megawatts to kilowatt hours, times the utilization rate, which is 30%, which then now makes sense because we acknowledge that solar cannot be provided for 24 hours. Is it okay? So we have that number giving us 300, giving us this number there. Okay. So, any questions? You're too quiet. I'm getting worried.
Still good on my side.
It's okay? Okay. Let's just check on the questions first. Sorry. Okay, so we have these numbers. Evaluating the feasibility to install blah, blah, blah. I hope we haven't forgotten any element in there. So we are told the total cost. This, I guess this has been done. The total capital cost has been done. The annual energy output, in for a 0.5 megawatt system, the output will be 1.314. So when the examiner gives you this, we have to test using the formula that we have done to check whether this number will make sense. Meaning that we have to say 0.5 times 365 times 24 hours times 1,000 times 30%. Can someone calculate? It should give us this. Then we know that what we have done there is correct because we have been given hints.
Correct, Fitzpatrick. It's
Hmm?
1,314,000.
Okay,
No, you're
so,
right.
so it's giving us this, right? Mhm.
Yes.
So your examiner is very, very generous. The second part, do not ignore this part as well. When you do this is how we are calculating it. We are saying 1 megawatt was giving us 20 million. So what did we do? We said 1.5 megawatts times 20 million. So in this case, we can say 0.5 megawatts times 20 million rands. It should give us that 10 million. Then we know that we are safe. So it should give us this number.
Yes.
So comfortably, team, you have the A, you have the B, the C. We have been told, because if you have gotten the total capital cost here, whatever number that you have there, you multiply by 0.5%, which gave us, I don't know if it was 300 or 150. So this one is also done. Then now we are told the annual equivalent of the capital cost. Here, guys, you can then now use the PMT. The PMT function to get the principle, and I'll explain what this is. That's $30 million that we got for capital cost. All we are trying to do is to redistribute that 20 million for 20 years. So let me demonstrate this. So this 30 million rands total cost. What the examiner is asking you is to find the annual. Sorry, is to find the annual equivalent. So the annual equivalent, I'll do like this. So I'll try to use two methods. I hope it works. I'll try to use two methods. This is what I'm going to do. We want to know, to divide this so that we know on an annual basis how much is it. We could have simply just done that divided by 20. 20 years, where is 20 years? Divided by this. So sorry, let's just ignore the thing. But would have also disrespected the factor of time value. Would have also disrespected the issue of interest and many other things. We want to get the future value. So this is what we are going to do. So equals PMT. We'll do like that. So what is the annual rate? The annual rate is our work, which is D20, D10, which is 14%. Number of periods. We have 20 periods where we should divide that. What is the present value? Now, because it is in year 0. It is this number here. Where is it? The present value is this. So then now it gives us every year what this number is, which becomes the equivalent cost. If I try the IRRI, is it going the RRI? RRI, let me just check. If I try the RRI, I hope it works. It should give me this 14%. I'll say the number of periods, 20, just observe what this thing does. The present value now is 30 million. The future value, if we bring this, we change, do this, times 20, gives me 5.6, sorry, okay. Let me do it in a different way. So this is the annual equivalent, but how are they getting this number? If I come here and use, because this was, and use the principle. If I do this, just follow so that the concept is well, I'm sure we'll get it right. So plus 1. Up to 20 years. I just want to see if it works out well. So we have the principal. We have the interest. The number here, this is the total cost. Annual total cost, which should be equivalent to the annual. Please check. If it doesn't work out, then I'll be very disappointed. So you have these two numbers there. Okay. So on the principal, it's PPMT, which is the rate, which is the 14%. The per number, which is that one, number of is 20. Then the present value is the 20. So let me do this, just watch. Then here on the interest, we'll have IPMT. Bear with me, 14 log. The number there is that. Is the total number of payments that. The present value is 30 million this. So it should give us exactly, it should give us the 4.5 million. Then we'll do like this. So, Rico, you have seen how this thing works, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've seen.
So, meaning that the principle is like what you are using as, what do they call that thing? Foncia what? Credit foncia. So, the principal will be equal to 3 million. 30 million, sorry. Then the interest so in total, sorry. In total, this is the amount that will be paid. 30 million principal interest, but this is not just interest on its own. There's a component of interest and equity payments. So I shouldn't even call it interest at this level. It is your returns, if I wanted to. So that is how they get this 4.5. I hope you have seen the concept. Hello.
You're shocking everyone, man.
Yeah.
This is new stuff. I'm saying you're shocking everyone.
Yeah.
It seems like it's new stuff to us.
Yeah. Sholo, let me speak to the South African lady. I'm privileged to speak to the South African lady. Let me even do like this.
Yeah. Yeah. Now the PMT when we saw, hey, that's one. Yeah.
Does my explanation make sense? Is it clear?
Yeah, on the PMT formula, that one I see. Clear.
Okay, thank you. So as much as I've called it interest, it's not interest, it's a combination of your equity, how much you should actually make as a return for the equity shareholders, and for those that have financed debt. So basically, this is basically returns, if I was to call it in that way, for both the equity and the other. Okay. So now we have these numbers. We check on the question. So now you go to, let me just tick. This, we are remaining with this part. This part, it is this D, it is D, because now you're looking at the annual weight of the project plus O&M. Please understand this. So it's D, which is the annual equivalent, plus the O&M. So I'll get back there. All right. Okay. So now the annual worth, what they're calling as annual worth of the project. So the annual worth of the project is basically this. Do not even waste time. That plus that. That's it. Then now you are asked on the cost of electricity based on your calculation of the annual worth divided by the energy output. They are very generous. So the cost of electricity, which is COE, which is the annual worth divided by your energy, just that. Okay. Then now you go to what are they asking? So you have gone up to this. Then now you're asked on the levelized cost of electricity based on the spreadsheet. We all ignore the spreadsheets of theirs. So what is this levelized cost of energy? For me, I look at the levelized cost of energy as a break-even point, as a break-even tariff. Because that tariff, what it does, it factors in all the costs. It is more of the levelized cost of energy is basically the required energy. If you are doing discussions on tariffs, first thing that you need to know is to know the levelized cost. Then you can start from there, because what happens is that the independent power producers will come, for example, come up with a project where they're saying the tariff is going to be, say, 8 rands per megawatt hours. Then when you check on the modeling, and maybe they have padded quite some costs there, then you start now trying to remove all the fund costs that they have put in there to just pad the levelized cost up. It's then now you find that the levelized cost is, say, 7 cents. So say you cannot charge us at 8 cents when the LCOE is 7 cents. So you can now negotiate in between. That LCOE is basically the floor. Remember that this, it's just for your minimum, because the LCOE, it is a tariff that is able to give you a return. That is able to cover the costs, O&M costs. That is able to cover any financing that you have had, and this is why you use your work. So we then now go to levelized, and this is what we are going to do. So then just come here. So the levelized cost of energy, sorry, the levelized cost of energy will be the discounted. Your discounted cost divided by your discounted energy. That's it. And your area of interest is supposed to be from your commercial operation. Just your commercial operation. Ignore the construction part. But let's just have them there. This is what we'll do. You can include it actually. So we'll say the year of operation. Okay, I'll say 1. This is your commercial operation. Then you start with him. Okay. It's like no one wants to go and sleep, huh? So we'll start from here. We have our investment. So the capital cost, which is in year 0, which is a negative. At this point, you are even relaxed if it is in the exam. Your O&M, it starts, you are starting in year 2, which is your year of operation, commercial operation. If anything, there's no need of having them as negatives because they are all costs anyway. So our O and M, we have that number. You just lock it. Oh, not that, sorry. This number here. Let's remove the grid lines. So this is year 1 up to year 20. Okay, so you have the total cost in here. You can have your discount factor here, or I'll show you how you can do it quickly without doing that. So the discount factor, which is your what, which is your 12%. So you start with what I would call year 0, which is basically this. I can put a 0 here and put a 1 there so that you have something like that, which is now. So from here, the discount factor, this is how you do it. It's 1 divided by 1 plus your cost of your what, which is this number, log to the power. If you get confused to the power, just tell me, then I'll show you how you can do it easily without putting these powers. This is method 1. Method 2, all you do, you just, since it's just 1 there, you just say equals. Here on the first one, you just put 1 like this. Because it is now, so the time value, if you give me a $200 million today, it's equivalent to today, even if I can't discount it because that's the value which is there. So here you have this formula which goes like this, and start from there. But there you have what you do, you say 1 divided by, so instead of 1 divided by, you come here, you have this divided by 1 plus. This is method 2. Something like that. Let's take it to, so you can decide, pick this and press Control R, meaning you're copying to the right. So you can see the numbers are the same. It doesn't matter which method you use. Okay. So if I want to get now the NPV, first you get the present value. Even if, hello? So the present, yeah, please.
No, discount, when you start discounting. Okay, I see on year 0, it's actually
yes
1. You start discounting on the operation or
yes.
immediately, so it's on the operation actually.
Yeah, because here 0 is now, so meaning the value of money now equals to the value you have now, isn't it? Yeah, but at the end of the year, that value gets discounted. Others would even put, you can even convert these to percentages if you want to. I've seen your lecturer would do like this, would put them as percentages. It doesn't matter. We'll do like this. Mhm.
Oh,
Doesn't
okay.
matter. Mm.
I guess we used to percentage that.
Okay. Uh-huh. So then now from here, you have the present value, which is that, oh, sorry, times this number here. So you go up to here. Actually, it's supposed to go up to a 20 commercial operation. Mhm. Okay. So this will be your present value, meaning your NPV. But this is a long, long way of doing it. Meaning your NPV, there will be these numbers here. So, that is your NPV. But if I was using a different formula, a function, the NPV function, I'll just say equals, I'll pick this 30 plus, then NPV, I'll do that, and then pick from here. It should give me the same, what have I done? Sorry, I forgot to put the rate.
Right.
I thought it was internal rate of return. So I'll do like this. So there's a difference. You know where this difference is coming from. Otherwise, we shouldn't talk about this difference. Shouldn't have this difference. Oh, it's these numbers. Is it okay? So do that. So now we are asked to find the levelized cost of energy. So we then now also get the energy. We'll need to discount it. So I'll do this. So your energy starts from, say, year one, unless we do not understand the question, but I believe that the commercial operation is in year one. Let me just check first. The facility take 1 year to construct. The first year of operation, which is also the year of commissioning, is year 2. So if we are saying 0 here, meaning that the construction period would be at the end of first year. So if it to be at the end of first year, when is it going to generate electricity for a year? Let's think. Terence.
Look at that. You were saying,
If construction
yeah,
or take 1 year, if construction will take 1 year, meaning that if say you're in 2022 January, let's think through. If we are in January 2022, it takes 1 year to construct, meaning it will go up to 31st December 2022. So in which year are you going to have full production? Up to which
during your,
period?
during your operation.
Isn't it 2023? Starting from 2023.
So full
Because
year.
from January
Yeah.
2022 until December, you'll be constructing, so you can't have total production. But from January henceforth, that's when I think you'll start.
So meaning that this
total
one,
production.
we agree that this one is year 0, isn't it?
Yeah,
Then this one is year 1, meaning that where you're going to start your production will be in with the full production because you start on the 1st December, on 1st January 2022, but for the full year, it will be on 31st December 2023.
not.
So, is it okay? The logic, is it okay?
So what will be happening from January 2023?
No, from January 2023, you have started now generating on a month-by-month basis, on a daily basis. But because you assume that you are doing your discounting based on the year-end figure, meaning that if you have 0, it will be 1, it will be 2. So at year-end, year 2023, at the end of year 2023, that is where you're going to have, that is where you're going to have full for the 12 months production and discount it to today. So let's get back there.
Not the beginning. So this is that confusion of beginning and the beginning of the year.
So now, production is not going to start even in here. We are not going to have in year 1. Remember that this is now, this is 31st December 2022. That is when you are done with your construction. So here, there's construction. There's also construction. Then operation starts from here. Who agrees with this logic? So here in year 0 is January 2022. Year 1 is 31st December 2022. Then year 2 is 31st December 2023, where you have now full production, meaning that here you're not going to have any amounts. Hello? Then, in terms of production, your production will start for the full year, will start in year 2. Let's understand this concept, which will be those, which will start from there. You look so lost. You're so quiet on me. Is there any conspiracy?
We are with you.
Tricky.
It's logical, isn't it? So, because at first we thought it was in year 1. No, year 1, is because you know when you're looking at these things, it is end of the year, end of the year. So if I come this side, I'll say this is 1st January. (2022), for example. Here now, it will be end of month, this, that, and 12, like this. I need to put these things in perspective, huh? Which is that. No? It's like this. So if we are using dates to calculate NPV, this was method 1, method 2, method 3. It's XNPV. So it will be this XNPV. So the advantage of this one, you do this. The rate, where's the rate? That. Then the values in this case, we have these numbers, comma, the dates, these numbers here. I hope we get it right. That's factored in 150 somewhere. That's factored in some 150 there. Okay. We ignore this method. Let's keep the 2 methods. But then we are saying from 1st January, you receive the money. You take 1 year up to 1st December 2022 to build. Then in this one should be. So this is how it is. So meaning that you have the construction period in here. Then your energy is starting from this side, from this. So your NPV for this energy. So these were NPV in terms of the cost. So this is what you would do. This is your NPV in terms of your kilowatt hours. So if you want to do your simple method, you can say some product. Then you'll start from here. I can even start from here. It doesn't matter. Sorry. That, comma. I pick the quantities there. Okay, so let me try if I was to use another NPV method using that method. If I don't want to start finding the totals, so I would say this number here, plus, then I'll say some product, since there'll be a video, so you'll be able to watch this. Then I'll pick from here, I'll pick these numbers, comma, then I'll pick the rates. You can even pick this. Then press enter. Okay, wow. So you have 3 methods. If you don't want to do this, getting these computations, you can just use your sum product. Okay. Now finally, on this part, we can then now get our LCOE, which will be equals your cost, which is this 30.8 million divided by your kilowatt hours, which is that. Giving you 1.36. Now send the workbook. Any questions? Yeah, too quiet. So let's review what your thing did as your suggested solution. You see there are a lot of gaps. A lot of gaps. I think you was using a book trying to memorize things. Okay, I'll save this as well. So if you check what he did, the levelized cost of energy, which is 1.36, the levelized cost of energy, that is the annual worth, 1.19, which we had already, we're calling cost of electricity, which is 1.19. This one does not factor in the time value, and this is why it's different. The other one factors in the time value. So when you check, this is how you get to use your methods on the NPV and whatever. It's difficult to even follow. So him was getting the present values there, which I said, if you wanted, there was no need to get this. All you needed to do in getting these numbers, getting this 30.what, you just say some product, please understand this. You pick your 30 there, plus some product, meaning that you don't do your computation down there because you may just waste a lot of time. So you pick these numbers up to there, comma. You come here and pick those numbers there and press enter. That's it. You get the same number. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just thinking of this one. If you don't want to use the PMMT, how did it be done? Because it's a constant number. So if I do this, let me just see, I hope it works out. I'll do like this. I'll say 30 million, because it's all the concept, 30 million divided by 20 plus 30 million times 1.2 times 14% cost of capital. Okay, it takes, the number goes up. Unless the credit funds here, while you're using the PMT, the number goes up. Okay. Any questions? Done differently, getting the same. Get the same numbers. Hello?
We are still here.
Okay. So, what?
Sorry, sir.
Please.
If I may ask, when we calculate the NPV, we actually added the 30 million rand. what is the logic behind that? Because I see whenever you calculate the NPV, you must also add the, this one, the D34. You see, you added D34 and then the NPV. What's the logic behind that, if you may explain or clarify?
So when you check, Terence, when you check on the 30 million, the present value for the $30 million is 30 million because it's now. So
Yes.
it does not get discounted by your work. And this is why you're separating it. So you are saying, because you're using the NPV function, so you come up with your NPV where you say, when you look at the NPV, if you're using the NPV function, there's a rate, there's a period.
Yes.
So then there's the amounts. So if you check, you have your rate and your amounts for your NPV. So from the commercial operation, after year 0, all numbers are subject to be discounted.
Okay.
Yes. In year 0, that number is as is. If I give you 25,000 rands today, it's equivalent to 25,000 today. Because why you are doing all these things, in case you don't know why you're doing all these things, you want to make a decision now. So,
yes.
So the issue is that, how do you make a decision of your future costs, the cost that you're going to incur at the end of 20 years? So we have to say,
yes.
with the time value for money, how much is this 150,000 today? So we are saying the 150,000 that we are going to spend in year 20 is equivalent to 10,900 today. And why you are looking at it today is because you want to make a decision today.
Today, yes.
Let me give this example. I know we don't use these principles in day-to-day life. You want to marry. So what decision do you make when you want to marry today? Because if you're not careful, you're going to marry a psychopath. Who is going to be a psychopath at the end of 20 years? So then now you look at all these things. Yes, it's going to be a medical doctor or a chartered accountant or whatever, engineer, lawyer. So you're saying, what I'm seeing in the future, because I want to make a decision, let me discount it today so that I come up with a reasonable decision. Let me not be excited that no, after 20 years, this person you want to marry after 20 years will be a lawyer or will be a president. So I say, okay, let me say 20 years president. Let me discount it today. Then I can make a decision to marry. So even when you're married, please do this discounted or present values. Use it. You will just marry a person who is just a psychopath. Or Amber. I'm sure I've been following Amber Cholo, isn't it? The John Depp and the Amber Heard. Because John Depp didn't discount. Had he discounted at the time he was making a decision, possibly he was going to go for another woman, but he didn't do that. Okay.
Your analogy is something else, man.
So this is how it is done. For me, for now, because home is very far, I would ask from the August house. Remember, because at home, we didn't have power, so I decided to work from Nolan's auditing firm. So that you have these videos, go through, then tomorrow we can look at the other part. It's not going to take us time, then we can go for another question. hopefully by Thursday, I would have done a lot of questions. Because don't over assimilate, you are going to bust, yeah? Hello?
How many sessions? Oh, Siam, how many sessions are we gonna have?
Up to Thursday, unless
Thursday.
up to Thursday. Because we are writing on
Thursday.
Friday, you're writing on Friday at 9 hours. So,
Oh.
and I know up to Thursday, you, with what I've seen with your questions, you'll be up to speed. The only thing that maybe you may require is just quick Excel tactics. So if you go on my YouTube channel, there's one that I've put as Excel for financial models, just for efficiency. I think I'm calling it efficient something, just the techniques, Control 1, Control G, and all these other things, so that you do these things faster. Like say, for example, if I have 12 here, I want to copy it down. So I'll just do Control D like this. If there was a formula I want to copy rightwards, I'll say Control R. So just those so that you'll be efficient as you look at these questions.
Okay. So
Seamo, don't you think we should end here? Then you go through the questions.
Because yesterday we didn't have a session, I promised these guys, extra hours. So I'm just not
Okay,
sure.
okay, it's okay. But otherwise, they may bust. Is it okay? We can go ahead. I have no problem.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone can speak for themselves. I'm more than willing for more than what we got, like how far we got today. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think?
I'm not sure, but looking at the time as well, I don't know, maybe for 30 minutes. Okay, but to be sure, I think maybe most of us, I'm not sure, we're struggling with the concept of this module, or understanding the definitions. When I'm saying concept, probably like, yeah, let me just say concept before we even get to calculations. Okay, let me just put it probably, I'm generalizing, I'm the one who's, what I've realized is if I get to the answer, I confuse reading the question itself, to say, like you saying on the, I think it was annual equivalent. It was quick to say this is what they want PMT. So I think, yeah, that's what I'm saying, the concept of how do I see when they're looking for annual equivalent, PPMT, and all those things. But I think, yeah, the concept, how they're asking questions before you get to that answer, you would have done all this trial and errors. But I think somehow the basic is playing tricks with.
What do you think, Tim? Yeah, she has given her views.
Yeah,
I can continue, but I don't want you to start lagging behind.
Most definitely. I think if anything, like Solo is saying, right? That's just the basic fundamentals. Like I said, man, even in my email, to say that, listen, we struggle much with understanding what's actually required or what's actually asked, because different terminologies are used, to ask certain questions, and then that on its own throws you off, because you don't know, like, the annual equivalent. I also, learned today that it's PMT. I do PMT as PMT. If it changes, then I'm lost, so it's just those things. They're actually quite a lot, man. So yeah, that's the approach there, to say that we actually need the basic fundamentals of time value of money, and its tricks in terms question, what are the variables that you actually need to look into whenever a particular question is asked? Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, thank you. Any views? Violent and non-violent views? Do you still have the energy to continue? Please, please.
Yeah, no, from my end, Fitz, I think the session was good. But obviously, as we can see that, I think as Chiamo said, everything is based on the principle and understanding the fundamentals of actually tackling the question. It would be good if, I don't know, but that's just my observation, because I see that in his past exams, he has like a whole different variety of questions. So I'm just afraid of time that we might be held back a bit, because I see that being in detail and being like in solid detail of how you're doing things and different ways of how to do things is the go-to way, obviously, because different people grasp different methods. I'm just worried about the time factor that might be a hindrance in actually seeing the other questions that we might, struggle with, because at the moment we lack the fundamentals. So getting that knowledge on most of the question would be also one of the critical factors. But I don't know. That's what I'm just observing from my end.
Okay. Any other views? So what you're saying is that we can continue. Is it okay? Do you still have the stamina?
No,
And that's the
100%.
energy to continue. Or you will need to view this video, start from the scratch. Don't use his models, those things that you pick. You start from the scratch, because that is the only way you would actually understand the concepts. Are you all on leave?
I'm on leave.
I'm working still. So
okay.
yeah.
Okay, like mistiming. Let me stop that. Okay.
No, but that doesn't mean that I can't go on. I can still go on. Work is work and school is school. So yeah, I have to keep the balance between the two.
Because here, I think we have come up with a number of principles, and I was explaining each and every principle. My worry is maybe your quite what absorption rate. As if we continue, I may just be talking to myself. If you still have the energy, we can look at the question 4, which is linked to this. If you do not have the energy, then that is what we should start with tomorrow. Hello.
I suggest that we continue with question 4. Yeah, we still have energy for tonight.
Okay, let's continue with question 4.
Thank you.
Thanks. Maybe just about 3 minutes, just freshen up, stand a bit, and then we'll continue after 3 minutes.
All right.
So we go back to the question. Question 4. So you learn from the media that the South African Revenue Services, SARS, has made available a tax allowance for investments in photovoltaic equipment. The scheme works as follows. The amendment allows for depreciation in the year of commissioning of the full cost of a grid-tied solar PV system of less than 1 megawatt used for electricity generation by business in the course of its operation. The capital depreciation allowances for solar PV systems greater than 1 megawatt allows full depreciation over 3 years. This permits depreciation of 50% of the capital cost in the year of commissioning. So this permits depreciation of 50% of the capital cost in the year of commissioning, 30% in the subsequent year, and 20% in the third year. Assume that you sell the power from your PV system as described in question 3 to the building tenants for 1,600 rands per megawatt. It is a big company and the tax rate is 42.4%. Using the tier general template, this was provided to you on ClickUp or ignore it. Calculate the following, showing in each case how you obtain your answer. A, the internal rate of return and NPV of a project based on the standard 10-year straight line depreciation. B, the IRR and NPV of a project based on the new rules for systems greater than 1 megawatt. Summarize your answers in a table showing the two depreciation approaches and explain why there's a difference. So let's start with the first one. We'll do the first one. So we'll say additional assumptions. So tax rate. For the 2.5%. What else? The tariff should be, is it 1,600 rands per megawatt? Okay, so we have the tax rate of 42.5%. Then the tariff of 1,600 megawatts. So depreciation, 10 years. So it's a depreciation period. 10 years. So the depreciation charge would be your 30 million Capex or capital investment divided by the economic lifespan. That's method one that we're going to use. Which gives us 3 million rands every year. So why do we need depreciation charge in computing the cash flows? Because we know that depreciation is a non-cash item. There's only one reason why we want to have this depreciation, so that we are able to calculate the tax rate of this 42.5%. So I'll pick these numbers. So that we don't waste time. We'll do this. So we have Capex. So maybe we can start from here. The Capex or capital investment or capital expenditure, which is negative 30,000. Where do I pick it from? I'll pick it from here. So this is what you're going to invest. But then we have been told in terms of the revenue, we have the revenue, which is starting in year 2, and we have explained why it's starting in year 2, which is basically the quantities. So you have the energy there. You press F4 so that you have the logs. Otherwise, if you are not going to have, otherwise, if you are not going to have the dollar signs there, as you push your formula up to the 20th year, this amount is going to be moving like this. And you have a problem in the exam, and time is ticking. This is what you're going to face. Oh, what have I done? If you're in here, which is second year, sorry, just want to show you something. If you don't lock this. So if I take it this side, it will be negative, it will be 0, 0, 0, 0s. So this is why in Excel, we put the dollar signs. It's very, very important. So you can use a shortcut, which is F4, and I assume that your lecturer must have taken you in modeling a bit. Did he? Rico?
No.
No, he didn't take us through that.
Himatata. So these $2 signs, all I'm saying that it should not move. So if I do like this now, and I take the number like this, it will move. Or I have the same number because this is what I want to do. Because if you don't know that, in the exam, there will be a problem. There will be big matata. So times the price. So the price is 16. Again, I press F4 key, those functional keys. Others would press Shift F4 key to have the dollar signs. Others would press FN F4 to have the dollar signs. Or others will physically put those dollar signs. It's safer. So that it doesn't move. So I have, these are the revenues. Okay. Now, this should be divided. This should be divided because on top there, remember what we have. I think, do we have the megawatts or kilowatts? We have the kilowatt hours here. Down, the rate is 1,600 rands per megawatt. So I need to divide by 1,000 so that I take it to, so it should be $6 million like this. That is on revenue. Then I'll come to variable cost. I don't think there was any variable cost, but there was a fixed cost, which is basically the OPEX, starting from here, which is a negative. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? So negative 150. Again, you put a dollar sign. Please put those dollar signs. Press F4 key if your laptop is as okay as mine. If it's different, it will be Shift F4 key. If it still doesn't give you those dollar signs, it will be FN F4 key, please. From this, you should just go on my YouTube account channel, go for those videos that I've told you on basic, just Excel tricks. I think I called it Excel tricks. Just learn that. It's about 8 minutes, I think, under an hour, just to help you. Okay. So you have these numbers first. I'll put the border line there. I guess so worried when you're too quiet. I hope you're not in your blankets. Okay. So those were the only costs that I've seen. Then we are going to bring in depreciation, obviously. Let me just bring depreciation. Let me just remove this part and do this. So I'll bring depreciation here. Depreciation is for 10 years. I could still put in an if function, but I don't want to confuse you, which shows that once it goes up to the 10th year, it should do stop, but I'm not going to do that. So I'll say equals minus the depreciation charge, which is this. I'll lock it. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 there. Okay. Why I'm doing this is not for me to compute the present values. When you are computing the present values, you are only looking at the actual cash. I'm using this to get the tax, which will be part of my computations. Okay. So I have these two costs, the fixed cost and depreciation. We don't have variables and the like, we don't have them. So then now here, I'll have what I would call as operating profit or profit before tax, maybe. Profit before tax. Which will be that. So if you are adding those numbers, you have seen what I've done is basically see alternate key, you press alternate key and the plus. Then others I've seen they'll do like this equals sum, but this takes long. So all you do when you're in there is say out equals, press enter. Control R. Okay. So now that we have these numbers, we can compute our tax. Mhm. So our taxation will be, so all we want here is just basically the tax. Will be the profit before tax times your tax rate at 42 point whatever, that it should be a negative, sorry, a negative. Mhm. Then you take it this side. Up to there. Mhm. Sorry. So you have this as your tax amounts. Mhm. Was the rate at 42.5? Let me just check. Oh, sorry, the tax rate is 42.4. 42.4, 42.4, sorry. Mhm. Hello, I can't get you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. We're under depreciation.
Mhm.
When do you I see? Okay.
Let me just go
I
there,
don't know.
Shala.
how it-
Mhm. We are given in
know.
the question. Let me just explain on depreciation. I know your internet is not that good. The depreciation period we are given in the question. Remember that we have it somewhere here. The first part, the question, we are told the IRR and NPV of a project based on the standard 10-year straight line depreciation. So we have the 10 years, which is straight line, using straight line. But then we have also been told that the capital cost, the investment is 30 million and depreciating it for 10 years, which is basically 10%. So it's 10% of 30 million, giving you 3 million on annual basis as depreciation. But please hear me out on this one, that why we are actually doing this is just to calculate tax. Yes, here now you're going to have your profit, but we don't want to look at this profit, because this profit, what it does, it factors in the non-cash item, which is depreciation. Mhm. Sorry. Mhm. So we have the profit here, which is a headline number. But then, because we want to compute our present values, we need to add back any non-cash item. In this case, if, say, for example, those profit or loss on disposal of assets, we know that that is not a cash item. We'll have to, if it's profit, we'll have to subtract. If it is loss, we'll have to add. So in this case, here, sorry, do this. So here now, this is where we'll say add back so that we get the free cash flows. Add back depreciation. Please understand this. So we are adding back depreciation. Oh, sorry, depreciation is here. I'll do this. Hear me out. So so in adding back depreciation here, all we are getting are the free cash flows. Free cash flows. Oh, let me just finish it up. Sorry, I shouldn't have shown free cash flows. And here, sum these two. So now that we have these free cash flows, we can go ahead and compute the internal rate of return and whatever we have been given down there. Since your lecturer wants you to do your discount factor, we'll do just that. We'll pick these numbers from question 3. We already have them. We'll pick them like that so that we don't waste time. We don't need to start recomputing. Okay. Are we there?
Yes.
Okay. So then now we get our present values. I'd shown you other methods on how to compute NPV. I'm not going to repeat that. So I have these numbers, which is that times your discount factor. Have those numbers. Maybe I should remove the decimals. So meaning the NPV here will be the summation of these numbers. Okay. Where am I getting negatives? Okay, let me just check how much are these numbers? Oh, 26, okay. Then internal rate of return. So, so the internal rate of return will be equals IRR, which will be these values here. So let's check on the question. So the A, we are told the IRR and NPV of a project based on the standard 10-year straight line depreciation. Any questions up to here? Recording a bit. And just resume. I just show you If you are to ask for reducing balance, this is how you get your depreciation. Mhm. So basically on depreciation, you have the opening balance on your assets. Thanks for that question. Then you have any additions, assets that you are adding. Mhm. Then you have opening balance, additions. Then you can then now have depreciation. And closing balance. I don't know what Congo has done to me. So now you have you have the total there. Please just observe this. Sorry. So the closing balance here . So the closing balance here is the opening balance there. Sorry, here is the opening balance here. Yes, sir. Ukachireko? Akaribu. Mana chabi. Coca-Cola na sote? Oh, I'm in pen. Okay, right. So you have these numbers. We know that in year 0, you add the additions. So let me do this. So you add additions in year 0, which is your 30 million. Which is your 30 million rands. So now how you compute your depreciation. For example, if we are told that it was reducing balance, I'll send this spreadsheet. Suppose we are told that reducing balance at for example, reducing balance at 5%, or maybe 10% reducing balance. This will be the first method. The second one is where the examiner, I'm sure as we look at other questions, where the examiner will give you the residue value. That at the end of this depreciation, there is a residue value of this much. We'll look at all the scenarios as we move on, maybe tomorrow. So on depreciation, then now, you are starting from year 1. But depreciation, please be mindful that you only start depreciating the asset during commercial operation. So in this case, if you check where we started depreciating, it was during commercial operation. So I'll start from here. So I'll say this number there. So I'll do like this, minus the opening balance, because that was the asset base, times your reducing balance of 10%. So I hold it like that. So as it moves on, it will be computing only the balance brought down. Whereas straight line, it is a constant. It is computed at cost. The reducing balance is computed at the balance brought down. So reducing balance, if the examiner maybe can say it's 20 years, for example, this is how the numbers will flow. So if you're checking what it is doing here, Rico, Cholo, and Terence, you'll see that depreciation, if you're using a reducing balance, it will always hit on the reducing balance, on the balance brought down. So you can see it's picking this. This is what is depreciating. You come there, depreciating that. That is what you're putting there, just like that. If anything here, I've made a mistake. I don't know what is speaking. No, starting from here, sorry. It's this. How do I confuse you like that? So you have 27 as the balance brought down. 10% of that is, you have 27 million, 10% of that is 2.7 million, just like that. So these are the numbers then now, which you are going to plug in here, where we are this 3 million, meaning that you're going to have them, you have them in there. Hello, is it okay? You're too quiet.
No, I'm still fine this side.
Then also the other thing, the examiner can trick you. Here under depreciation charge, they can put 10 years. Let me do this. Then the examiner would say straight line, but there's a residue value. A residue value, for example, of maybe 1,000. What this 1,000 does, Tim, it will also act as a cash inflow. So meaning that if you are getting a depreciation, you'll come in here, the depreciation is going to change. Instead of having this 3 million, it will be this. It would be the cost of capital, the capital investment of 30 million minus the residual value of 1,000 divided by 10. So it will be like this. So this is what you will be having under depreciation, like that. So once you get whatever numbers you get, do not forget when you're here, then you should bring in, before you get your cash flows, meaning that in the 10th year, you're going to have a cash inflow, which will be your residual value here. I'm done now. So here you have your, in the 10th year, which would be cash inflow. This residual value, others would call it scrap value. Others would call it terminal value. Please be mindful of these terminologies. Hello, I can't get you.
I'm saying the salvage.
Yes, others, yeah, others will call it salvage value. You see? So this is what would happen. But in this case, we are told this is 0. Mhm. So that is how it works, guys. But B, I think we can do it tomorrow, where I live is 20 kilometers from where I am, because home there was no power. And I'm in pain. And the absorption rate has also gone down.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Patrick, for for today. Yeah. It's still a lot to take in, obviously, with the computation and everything. That's the process that I think everyone needs to learn. And then also identifying variables as to what's actually required to calculate the different parameter, the particular parameter that you asked. Yeah, that's still something I feel like everyone, or myself, I'm still trying to sort of understand. But other than that, yeah, it's a good lesson, man. Yeah, I believe in the next 2 days that are coming. Obviously, tomorrow practice throughout the day, and then hopefully, there should be progress.
Sure. Thanks, Sam.
Yeah.
Rico, you're checking
Yes,
out.
sir.
You know, when you're at a hotel, after being there for 3 days, you need to go by the reception and check out. You don't just go like this.
No, Fitzpatrick, no, thank you very much. I think the session were very informative. It was good, clearly presented to us, and I think we should be ready for Friday if we carry on like this. Yeah.
Shoro,
Yeah, I'm good. So
you're checking out. Tell us about your experience being in this lab. This is basically a laboratory.
no, I've learned few tricks and shortcuts as well. I've been doing the long road so far. So yeah, I think there's something that I'm picking up.
So in the next few days, Shoro, what you should do is just an advice. Also, just spend time on Excel tricks. I've done quite a lot. I have over 200 videos on YouTube. Most of them is in financial modeling and Excel. Just go through those just for you to appreciate. Yeah. So if you need whatever you'll be looking at, if it's Excel tricks, if you need the spreadsheets that I was using, then I wouldn't mind. That is once I know that you had gone there, you had checked, because I'll be able to see you. Then I can send you the Excel thing so that as I'm doing whatever I'm doing, because it's very instructive, then you can do that just at your own free time when you're at the office and whatever. So that as you go into the exam, your Excel craftiness would have actually been fully developed. Thank you. 001, yeah, please.
No, okay, it's fine. Let's all check out first.
Sure. 0154131.
Evening, everyone. Yeah, I did learn some few things today. This section was very informative. And yeah, I think what's left for me is just to go back to especially the last part. There's some things that I missed a bit. So yeah, I'm gonna go back and just look at that. And yeah, but the first part I did understand. I got it.
Sure, thank you. JM.
Thank you. The session, well, it was fruitful, and I think mine is just to then go back to the videos and just repeat some of the things that I missed.
Sure. Thank you. Mutweni.
Yeah, well, the session was good, but I picked up that like I still need to go through the concept like before maybe I can attempt so many questions, especially this kind of questions, because they require a lot of concept and understanding all these things. Yeah, but overall, like the session was good.
Okay, Terence.
Thanks. So I think, yeah, the session was very much informative. I've learned a lot today, and I believe with the knowledge gained today, it will open a lot of things, especially in preparations for the exam. But yeah, I've learned a lot of things today. Thanks.
Sure, thank you. Then ZA44323.
Fitzpatrick, as always, it's a very informative session, I should say. So it's always nice to know, some alternative methods or Excel tricks which one can use just to reconfirm some of the solutions or answers while working through a spreadsheet. I think you explained them or touched on those very clearly.
Sure. Thank you so much. For those that I know, the other component that we'll be dealing with tomorrow in this question will be on capital allowances. I'm training chartered accountants or would-be chartered accountants. They'll be writing the exams on Monday next week. So tomorrow we'll be looking at IS-12 at 18 hours. IS-12 is basically on taxation, where we'll look at capital allowances and the techniques under that, which I know it is actually going to be very helpful with this question that we'll be looking at later on in the evening. So for those that would want to join at 18 hours, we are more than free to join. It's the same link. I don't change the link details. Thank you so much. I wish I could speak Swahili, or if I can't, at least I could speak Zulu or the Lipompo language. But I'll say Zikomkwambili. Thank you so much and bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Good night.
Sure.
Sure,